Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with Rare Gem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Our goal is to ignite your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield.
And I'm Dr. Cheryl Watkins-Moore, the director and lead of our Bioscience Inclusion Initiative with BioSTL. Hey, girl, we're
back. How are you? Oh, yes, we are. How you doing?
I am doing fabulous.
Excellent. Well, you know, I'm so excited. You're always working on really cool things, and most of the time I get to work on them with you.
Yes.
And you have Arlen Hamilton coming for the Vision Conference in the fall, and I've started listening to the Startup Podcast season that's featuring her.
Yes.
So, and then I saw one of our favorite entrepreneurs. Oh my goodness, her name just went right out of my head, but she's in Arlen's portfolio.
Oh, Melanie.
Melanie was in town, and I saw her, and
Alyra for everybody out there.
And you can catch up on one of our much earlier interviews with her. But like, I feel like I told her that I feel like I'm like 1 degree of separation from Arlen because I know her and she's in Arlen's anyway, because it's all about me.
Arlen just announced she has a new $36 million fund that she is raising specifically for Black women founders.
Yes. So it's amazing. It's really exciting. And one of the reasons, well, I'm excited, so that's why I'm telling you. But the other reason I'm telling you is because none of this would be possible without our sponsors, particularly in this case, BioSTL.
Yes.
But CET also sponsors the Vision Conference. And together with a whole bunch of other stakeholders in the community, we are able to put on this amazing event every year. So we want to thank our sponsors for allowing us to come back to you with these new episodes.
Vision 2018, you guys.
See it to believe it?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I had to. But when we're not doing things like Vision, we're able to be in the studio talking with fabulous people because of the support of our sponsors, BioSTL and CET. So go to their website, check out what they're doing, find out more about Vision and all the other programs. Actually, the Square One Bootcamp application will open in July, so it's a great time if you're catching up over the summer and binge listening to remember to check out those websites. And we encourage you to share the new episodes that you're enjoying with your friends. Shout out to our favorite guests. Invite 5 friends to sponsor.
10, 15, 20.
Or write a review.
Right.
You know, however you want to use that time that we have now dedicated in your life for promoting the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. So just remember that, as Gary Vee says, the future is voice, so shout it out.
Shout it out.
What are we shouting today?
So if you're looking for a way to describe an unapologetic woman entrepreneur who is boldly growing her business, then the term brazen would be an apt designation.
Indeed.
Yes. If you're a woman entrepreneur and you're looking for answers, tools, and support, then Brazen St. Louis is an apt opportunity. Let me tell you about Brazen. Brazen St. Louis is a community that reassures women business owners that, hey, you got this, and offers the support needed to boldly press forward in their entrepreneurial endeavors. So when we come back, we're going to be speaking with a quasi-entrepreneur and the executive director of the Brazen organization St. Louis that has your back. Mindy Mazur joins us after the break. So stay listening.
BioSTL is a proud founding sponsor of this Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast, and we want you to know all about the great things they are up to. BioSTL Fundamentals is an entrepreneur development program targeted to founders wishing to start a company in the bioscience space, including therapeutic products, diagnostic products, medical devices, animal and crop agriculture products, and research tools. Participants earn resources by achieving specific coaching goals. You can learn more about BioSTL Fundamentals by visiting biostl.org. And for your renewed and continuing support, BioSTL, we say thank you.
I'm Mindy Mazur. I'm the Executive Director of Brazen St. Louis, and entrepreneurial thinking to me means no ceilings. And no ceilings means blue sky. And so I think entrepreneurial thinking is about making sure that we can actualize on all of those big dreams and big business ideas in our blue sky.
So joining us today is Mindy Mazur, Executive Director of Brazen St. Louis. As you started to tell our guests...
Who was you?
You!
Me?
You started to tell our guests that Brazen St. Louis encourages women in all stages of their business and in different industries to join together, find their like-minded community, and feel supported. I know, I tell my people that all the time. Feel supported on their entrepreneurial journey. The organization is designed for entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, founders, entrepreneurial curious. That's one of the ones I like saying that, right? Presidents, CEOs who are not part of a large parent company. So people who are leading their own ventures. And before coming to Brazen, Mindy has been working to empower women and girls by advancing issues across the board. Pay equity, civil rights, voting rights, and in particular getting more women on public boards and commissions.
That's phenomenal.
So she's been working to elect more women to public office, mentoring and sponsoring women inside and outside the workplace, and volunteering time with all sorts of women leadership groups. So it's no surprise that Mindy is leading this organization.
And I'm laughing. I was like, oh, could she get you and I into public office?
No. We got way too much baggage.
Exactly.
Way too much baggage. Not to mention we have a very low BS threshold.
There you go.
So anyway, but nonetheless, Mindy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me today. And let me just say, I think you both would be wonderful public servants. And when you're ready to launch your campaigns, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm behind you, girl. 110%.
And I'm behind.
I'll be your fixer.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be my Olivia Pope.
Well,
there you go. Okay.
I told Chris Miller I wouldn't be his, but I'll be yours.
Okay, so let's get started.
Yeah, so we have alluded, or not so subtly alluded, to the fact that you had a robust political life before that. But so tell us in your own words, what has your journey been to coming to lead Brazen St. Louis?
Sure. So I've had kind of an interesting mix in terms of my background. Are
you from here, Mindy?
I grew up in St. Charles.
Okay.
Yes.
She's practically from here.
She's
Yes.
Just a little water in the bridge connects us, right?
Yes, that's right. But I've been back in the St. Louis region for 2.5 years. I had some stints in Washington, D.C., and then lived in mid-Missouri for some time. My journey has been kind of interesting, but there have been some common themes in everything that I've done. And of course, like most people, I'm constantly learning and growing as I go. Those common themes have been wanting to do something that feels like it's making an impact or some sort of positive difference. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. I was really lucky that my first job out of college was working for Congressman Ike Skelton in his Washington, D.C. office. And he was from the other side of the state and a senior member of Congress.
So did you do a poli-sci background in college?
No.
Or what did you do?
She seems almost embarrassed.
So,
I have a feeling
Cheryl,
it's like something like science.
When I was in college, that was pre-Facebook and digital phones and things.
Us too.
So, which was good because I had a lot of fun in college.
Oh, us too.
Not nearly enough.
Well, but it's a good question, right? I didn't know what I wanted to do because I had so many interests in so many things, which I still am like that today.
Yeah.
So I took everything from Italian cinema to Chemistry 101, much to the chagrin of my parents.
Yes. We don't see a path here.
There was no path. I ended up with a degree in communications and a minor in music. And I thought I wanted to go work for the Jim Henson Company.
The
Muppet People.
I have a degree in political science and a minor in women's studies, and I ended up working for public television, which is practically working for the Sesame Street. Practically.
Okay, so we need to have a Freaky Friday moment or something.
We're practically each other.
So it is, yeah.
If we join another head, we would be a tri-headed monster.
God help us.
Just like a Muppet. So, anyway, that didn't work out. I cold faxed my resume to the Jim Henson Company.
As you should.
And also, because
Cold faxed. I loved it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Faxed. And also to members of the congressional delegation from Missouri, because I had friends who had worked on the Hill as interns, and they said, well, you can kind of take that anywhere since you don't know what you want to do.
It's a good backup position.
Wow.
And so it turned out that Ike's office had an opening, and I got a call and got an interview. And so right after I graduated from Mizzou, I went and moved to Washington, D.C. to work in his D.C. office on his legislative staff. And
kind of like working with Muppets as well.
I wasn't going to go there, but that's okay.
There is a puppeteer joke somewhere in there, but
there is, and I'm sure they're fine and good people.
With regard to politics.
Yes, but broadly speaking, not the that particular office or those particular people.
That is a very cool move, though, to go from Mizzou straight to the Capitol.
It was life-changing.
That is very cool.
During the time I was there, it was really a formative time in my life, as most people in their early 20s, but getting to work for somebody like Congressman Skelton, who was just... He was just a wonderful mentor and a wonderful public servant. And so I had the opportunity to really see him in action, to learn about casework and helping people navigate through government and solve their problems. And I also got bitten by the political bug a little bit while I was there. Sure. So I went to graduate school while I was working for him full-time at GW and got my master's in political management. Did one of his re-election campaigns. And then I also went on the presidential campaign in 2003 and 2004, working for our home son, Dick Gephardt, initially.
That had to be a great experience.
It was a great experience. I joked that I left my husband and cat in Washington, D.C., took a pay cut, and moved in with my in-laws in Oklahoma because that's how much I believed in Dick Gephardt.
Oh, my gosh.
And you have to have
that's all true.
That kind of blind faith, which is also what our entrepreneurs have.
And that's what I was going to say. That's that you see the elements of entrepreneurial spirit there. I wasn't an entrepreneur per se, but taking those risks and starting something new and kind of getting out there and meeting with the people. And so I had a little bit of an adventure there, and obviously that didn't go too far. Coast Iowa.
Oklahoma. And then you came back where, to D.C. or St. Louis?
Well, I was trying to decide then. What should I do? Should I stay on the trail after my candidate dropped out, or should I go back to Washington, D.C. and get what I call a jobby job?
I like that.
Both
jobby
options were on the table, and I heard through the grapevine that Robin Carnahan was running for Secretary of State and was looking for a campaign manager. And I'd never met her before, but I certainly knew who she was and greatly respected her and her family, and managed to get my resume in front of her and got an interview, and Robin was kind enough to take a risk on me and let me run her campaign. So I was her campaign manager for her first statewide run in 2004.
That is so going from a presidential, working on that campaign, to coming back and working on in Missouri on a campaign. Wow, you got to see all levels of government, which is really cool.
Yes.
And sort of really, too, you have to be totally comfortable with ambiguity in those settings as well. Because if we know anything about politics, is that it's rapidly changing.
It is.
Evolving in the moment, and you have to be able to think on your feet and do all those things.
You definitely have to be in the moment and also strategic at the same time, which again, I didn't identify it at the time, but now I do. It does take that entrepreneurial spirit to be able to take that risk and to build something from scratch and to build the team and build the grassroots operation and all the pieces that go into a campaign.
And you're innovating as you go, which
absolutely.
I think that is
constantly
very cool.
pivoting.
Yes.
Not too much. Otherwise, you're not sticking to your plan.
Right.
But, we won. And that's what brought my husband and me back to Missouri because I became Robin's chief of staff in the Secretary of State's office.
Oh, very cool.
So I was back in official government, this time the state side.
Not a jobby job, but a really cool job.
It was a cool job.
Yeah.
It was a very cool job.
It's kind of a jobby job.
It's a jobby job.
But it's a jobby job.
It had benefits.
You just go to
it's a jobby job.
9 to 5. There's no real fun around it. This had to be so cool.
Very dynamic.
We're going to have to define jobby job at some point, but not right this moment. Oh, my goodness.
That's my
clearly.
Jobby job.
Okay. Yeah. Benefits, fun. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So tell us more. So you went from Carnahan's office, running her office as chief of staff. Then how did you get into this? Was the next jump into the Brazen role, or how did that work?
No, a couple more jumps before that, but all I think sort of leading up to that. I also worked for a nationwide coalition of advocacy organizations and built their Missouri office in the 2008 and 2009 years. And then I went back and worked for Robin again when she ran for U.S. Senate in 2009 and 2010. After that, really was another entrepreneurial experience for me when I was one of the first two people to work at Missouri Health Connection, which was a startup, is a startup nonprofit here in Missouri connecting electronic health records. And all the different states were doing that. So I was on the ground floor of helping build that and get that up and running in its first 2 years as their COO, as their first COO. And then I had some friends who I'd worked with before in the past who were starting their own marketing and public relations firm. And so I another startup, let's do it. And so I joined, it's called GPS Impact, and it's a boutique multimedia advertising and public affairs firm. And we built it, and I was a principal with the firm, helped with business development, bringing in clients and also managing clients. Most of my clients were nonprofits, some candidates and some corporate work. But I had the opportunity in that role to really learn more business development, which was a different role for me, and bringing in new business and accounts. But also, I had the opportunity to work with some amazing clients, lots of clients, but some like Women's Foundation based out of Kansas City, where I got to deep dive into some of my areas of passion, where they do research and come up with policy solutions statewide in Missouri and Kansas. And so they were doing really innovative research on pay equity, for example.
Which is totally needed.
Yes.
Across any industry, because we've seen the gaps. I mean, the gaps are huge.
They are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They also started doing research into women's entrepreneurship. And as a foundation, they gave grants out, and one of their grantees was this organization called Brazen St. Louis.
Awesome.
Some little organization called Brazen, right? Which is doing some phenomenal stuff here in the St. Louis area. Yeah. So it seems like you really are attracted to new opportunities, starting or being involved in new opportunities or changing the way things are done. Is that what attracted you to Brazen?
I think the mission is what attracted me to Brazen.
Okay. So tell us for the listeners who aren't familiar with it, give us your elevator pitch for Brazen.
Yeah.
Right. So Brazen St. Louis is a nonprofit organization. It's a membership organization that serves women entrepreneurs and CEOs that are not part of a parent company, and helps them by providing business-first, customizable programming to help them build their businesses and take it to the next level.
That's awesome. And so you got to know them as a grantee. Essentially.
Yes. Well, I had met briefly Jennifer Elin years prior through a women's organization that I was a part of. She was one of our keynote speakers right after she launched the Prosper Women Entrepreneurs Fund to help drive investment into women-owned businesses.
And just so people know, Prosper and Brazen, same organization, changed names very recently.
The Prosper Women's Entrepreneurs Institute, which was the membership-based programming piece, was rebranded to Brazen St. Louis, and that's where I'm the executive director now. So we were reconnected, and then also with Amy Dunn, the other co-founder, I thought, initially I was helping co-promote the work between the Women's Foundation and Brazen St. Louis, and I thought I might volunteer for Brazen St. Louis because one of their great programs is called Power Hours, where subject matter experts do one-on-one half-hour mentoring sessions with entrepreneurs. So I went to meet with Amy Dunn about that, and
you were bitten.
I was smitten.
Not just bitten, but
I thought,
smitten.
Wow, this is right up my alley in so many ways. And I was kind of thinking I wanted to focus on one thing again and really channel my energy towards something I cared about. And so we had this great conversation, and I was looking at the website after we met, and they had this executive director position open. So I emailed her and I said, hey, is this still open? And it was. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go for it. So big jump again.
We love jumps.
But
big, small, side to side, whatever it may be.
It's been 6 months to the day today as of this recording. And so it's my 6-month anniversary, and it has been quite a 6 months. Wow.
No
very dynamic.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to dive more into what that 6 months has looked like in just a moment.
CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, is a proud founding sponsor of this Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. We want you to know all about the great things they are up to. Square One offers 2 training options. Square One Ignite, a 4-week program created to help founders quick start their business model validation process. Or Square One Bootcamp, an in-depth 10-week, 50-hour program that combines formal instruction with hands-on learning, networking, and mentoring. To learn more more about Square One Bootcamp or Square One Ignite, visit CETSTL.com. And for your renewed and continuing support, CET, we say thank you.
So, Mindy, these are a lot of different transitions. I said we love jumps, right? And we've made a few of our own. What gave you the strength, the courage, the chutzpah, however you might characterize it, whatever word you exactly. How could you be brazen?
What makes me so brazen? Until you asked that question, I'd really hadn't identified myself as such, and so I don't know. I think it's some sort of, look, I have all the same fears that anybody else does, right? I'm terrified of certain things, but it's been a journey over time to really kind of push through those fears and have that go ahead and do it attitude. I would like to attribute some of that. I think there's a kernel of confidence that's always been in me that's allowed me to do things, and that's certainly because my parents have been such supportive parents throughout my life. And then, so they were always encouraging of me to try new things and do things. And and having that support system there, and it's funny when you say that a lot of times, especially women, we don't see ourselves as brazen, even though we do it every day. Right. Taking a leap is a lot of times we do it without even realizing that it's a leap. Because guess what? We got to get over the damn pedal some kind of way.
I stepped in it today, literally. That damn pedal got me.
Yeah. So I think that having the foresight, and actually when you go back and you look at, you probably didn't even realize, like you said, this wasn't brazen. This was just something I wanted to do. I wanted to go here. I wanted to go there. How has all that experience helped you in now your new role as an executive director in this organization it's not an old organization,
right? It's still new,
and it's growing and it's changing. How's your background and skills help to move that forward?
I think it's a great role for me, and it's one that I've really enjoyed so far because it takes a little piece of all that my different experiences of the past, but again, it's through this prism of this mission that I'm really passionate about, this mission that helps advance women in leadership and helps advance equity and entrepreneurship and economic empowerment. And so, to build an organization that is still in a new phase, you have to have all kinds of different pieces. And so whether it's, knowing how to do administrative stuff from being a COO in the past, that's pretty helpful.
Yep.
Knowing how to manage a board on the back end of things. On the front,
and for
marketing.
Full disclosure.
Oh, yes.
Are you one of the people she has to manage?
Yes.
She's the best board member.
She knows how to say really good things.
Did you make it to the meeting this morning?
We didn't even go there. And see, you just started. I made it to the meeting in spirit.
You're the best board member.
She's a wonderful board member, and she's been and I'm not just saying this because I'm sitting across from you, but you've given wonderful wisdom and continued
I appreciate
vision for Brazen St. Louis, which is awesome.
Thank you. But I think that you have to me, you bring a lot to the table. In fact, that with your skills and your knowledge and also the connections that you have brings a lot to the organization. And I think for many women who are just starting their businesses, having a role model like yourself who's been able to transition from different roles, that's really key, because a lot of times we don't see ourselves in many other organizations. So leading an organization specifically for women, I think is great.
Well, thanks. And, one of my favorite sayings is you can't be what you can't see.
Absolutely.
And as the mother of 2 daughters, that's really important to me, too. I think...
Twins, you guys. Twins, and 5 years old.
She left the husband and the cat, remember, way back when.
I'm not leaving the twins. Don't worry.
And then she came back and they were twins. No.
At 5 years old.
I'm just saying.
There was a little gap in between. But anyway.
And a miracle occurred.
Yeah. It's too funny. It's important, though,
Yes. So as a mom of 2 girls,
they keep me motivated every day. you know, and I think I'd feel the same way if they were two boys. I think it's important for everyone that we have, you know, equal opportunities for boys and girls and men and women. And that's a lot of what drives me every day. I think that policy background is part of what I like about this role, because it's a way to pragmatically advance some of this work through a really specific way by helping women entrepreneurs actualize their businesses.
And I was going to ask you, give us an example of some of the types of women entrepreneurs that Brazen is working with, types of businesses, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really what's kind of fun about this. I mean, there are a number of things that are fun, but my favorite part of this job is meeting the entrepreneurs and the CEOs. And
it is. That's a great part.
That's just the best part. There's no question about that. And so we have all kinds of different businesses, all kinds of different industries, nonprofit and for-profit. We have women at different stages of businesses, which is great as well. And some of we've got everything from, let me give some interesting examples of the diverse types of businesses that we have. We have one of our members that we talk about a lot because she recently acquired her competitor is Kim Moose of Cotton Cuts, and she has a quilting subscription box where people who do quilting, which is a huge industry, subscribe and they get pre-cut fabrics every month. And so that's a really kind of interesting business. And then we also have people who are in the food business. We have Banner Road, Chef Ann Croy, who is her specialty is granola right now. And so, you know, those are two very different types of things. We have consultants, we have coaches, we have people developing apps, technology applications, and we have nonprofit leaders as well. Jessica Adams, who is the founder and the executive director of the St. Louis Area Diaper Bank, is a new growth group member, which is one of our key programs. And so it's really all kinds of different businesses. That's what the strength of the Brazen St. Louis network is all these different types of businesses and them going through the same types of challenges, though, regardless of the industry and regardless of the stage. Yep. And that's really what holds it all together. I
thought it was really cool. A couple months ago, you guys hosted the Brazen Brunch. Is that the right?
The Be Seen Brunch.
Be Seen Brunch.
Yes.
And it was very, very cool because they had a competition these were finalists that had competed before the actual brunch. And these were the folks that, I think it was how many, 4 or 5?
5 finalists.
That were finalists.
Yes.
And they represented different areas of industry. You had somebody representing, you know, the healthcare industry, the jewelry industry, fashion, you know, they had some really cool stuff.
I know, you left jazzed.
Yeah, I need to get some jewelry. I need to go back and talk to this girl who's doing some
I'll take a little healthcare and a little jewelry. Right. Then a little something to eat on the road.
So talk about that event, which was really very, very cool. So when people are looking for opportunities, maybe they can, you know,
plug in.
Yeah.
So this was our first ever Be Seen package of events. I like to call it that because it was 2 events, as Cheryl mentioned. In February, we partnered with the Hispanic Chamber and with Christy Jackson of DK Solutions, and we put together a training, an elevator pitch training in February. We had members of the entrepreneurial support community and other partner organizations nominate up to 2 women entrepreneurs of color. We had 19 nominations, and we had 17 women show up on a night when it was about 2 degrees outside in February. And it was great. I almost canceled it because of the weather. And then we had this awesome turnout.
That's fantastic.
And so we had a great training, and then we had a competition that night with volunteer judges. And the finalist from the training then went on to the Be Seen Brunch, which was our larger event in March. It was at the DK Annex down on South Jefferson. We were at full capacity, over 100 people. We had a keynote speaker. We had breakout sessions and mentoring sessions. And then it culminated with that elevator pitch competition at the end in front of a panel of judges from the St. Louis investment community, which was a big part of what we were trying to do. Women entrepreneurs, you all know this, but maybe not all of your listeners know this. Over the past year, women entrepreneurs received 2% of venture capital funding.
Over the past, low.
Ridiculously low. Over the past 5 years, women entrepreneurs of color have received only 0.2%.
Correct.
It is astounding.
It is.
And so our thought behind the intentional name of Be Seen is it is very important for us to help. And this is how we function in Brazen St. Louis every day, making sure that women entrepreneurs are more seen and more heard, but specifically for those two events for women entrepreneurs of color here in the St. Louis area, that their businesses are being seen and being heard by people in the investment community, by other entrepreneurs, that they're getting connected to resources to move those businesses forward. And one of my favorite things was we also were able to help all 5 finalists get on broadcast, so they were either on TV or radio talking about their businesses as well.
That is so cool.
So important.
Yes.
So important. And how does that dovetail with the other programming that Brazen does on a regular basis?
So it dovetails really nicely because a lot of the work that we're doing is, again, helping women build their businesses and take it to the next level. And oftentimes that next level is figuring out funding and whether you're going to be asking for funding or raising funds in some other way. We are looking to make that be seen package. I said it was the first ever. We're looking to make that an annual event and to also do a Brazen pitch day, a full pitch day for Brazen members and other women entrepreneurs in the region, and have that happen next year as well. So a series of events. But our regular programming includes growth groups, which I referenced earlier. That's our key program, our flagship, if you will, and those are peer accountability groups where we put together 7 to 9 women entrepreneurs and CEOs, and they meet for a 3-hour chunk of time once a month. They get the benefits of peer mentoring through which is huge and proven, with the efficiency of Brazen developed software to allow them to self-facilitate their meetings.
Oh, cool.
So it's a really elegant solution that Brazen provides there, which is also scalable, which is very cool. So we want to add more and more growth groups. So that's our signature program. We also have on a regular basis for our Team Brazen members, we have power hours, which are one-on-one mentor sessions in key areas with subject matter experts in accounting, finance and raising money, technology, marketing, and legal on a regular basis.
Awesome.
Where they can
all
sign up
key
for this.
areas, no matter what industry you're in.
Exactly. And and all of our programming sort of radiates from those key building blocks. And so we also have member roundtables and member events with guest speakers, panels, workshops on a regular basis for our members.
And Brazen was an integral part last year of our Vision event. So we hope you guys are coming out this year to support and be a part of the event as well.
I have it on my calendar already.
Absolutely. No, we mean you guys are going to be.
You could talk to her about that offline.
Providing support for our women entrepreneurs because they need to see like you said,
Well, and knowing that all women entrepreneurs aren't the same, and knowing that all companies aren't the same, do you, despite all that, do you see any common themes with regard to perhaps blind spots or hurdles that are universal with some of the women that you're working with, or things that we can be attuned to as women entrepreneurs that maybe are always perennial issues for us?
So I do pick up some common themes. I think one of the things that I've noticed in talking and hearing from different people now through membership programs and just meeting one-on-one with our entrepreneurs too, is that there does seem to be a gap in terms of their knowledge of what resources are out there for them. And so for us to be able to help be a convener of that through our programming and referring to other groups that might be, we're not an accelerator, we're not an incubator, but we can refer them to those.
Absolutely.
And you all probably know of some that would be good.
We've met a few along the way.
Yes. Just a few.
So what those, I think there's a, they have other support structures in place, but not always for their businesses. And so helping them kind of navigate that, because a lot of times we've got a good idea and we have one piece of it, but you're missing the 3 other pieces that actually make it stable.
To doable.
Forward.
Right.
Totally. So if listeners want to learn more about Brazen, what you do, how to be involved, where would they go? BrazenSTL.com is our website. We also have a Facebook page and a Twitter account at BrazenSTL. But yeah, that's the main place to go.
Any events coming up that you can share with us for 20? What year are we in? 18.
Well, I can give you an example. Actually, we had an event last week, which was great. It was a conversation with Lori Coulter of Somersault and with Beth Handragan of Lean Media, and they are both women entrepreneurs from the area whose businesses are really taking off. We had a nice event at Kovo, which is one of the new co-working spaces downtown St.
I was there
Louis.
this morning.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I like that space. Yeah.
We did it out on the roof.
Oh,
deck.
nice.
They have a, kind of a roof patio there, and the weather was nice. And so it was a small group. There were probably about 15 of us, and we were able to really dig deep about thinking big about our businesses, and talking about pivots specifically and different pivots within the businesses. And so that's kind of one idea or one thought about the types of business or the types of programming rather that we've been doing. Next week, we're doing another roundtable for our members at Sweetology, and we will have guest speakers Kara Newmark and Tendai Morris. And Tendai Morris's business is called The Hair Whisperer. So two very different types of businesses. And the theme for that one is retail dead? No way.
No way.
So it really, they vary. We have had. We've had them on, building your sales pipeline using marketing tools and things like that. We're going to do a technology workshop in June. And then I talked about the B Scene and then the Brazen Pitch Day. We'll be building in trainings through the fall and into the early winter.
So, folks, go on Brazen's website, brazenstl.com, and find out all the great things that Brazen has coming up, so you guys can attend, especially for our women entrepreneurs out there. We don't mind
if you are a woman entrepreneur or know and love a woman entrepreneur,
aspiring entrepreneur,
entrepreneurially curious,
all
y'all.
Yeah, and if you want to stop by as a man, you can, but you'll be kind of like out of luck.
We do have opportunities for men to engage because we do believe it's important for men and women to support women entrepreneurs, of course. So we have men on our board, men volunteers, men donors, men, supporters in other ways. So
awesome. Takes a village.
Cool. Absolutely. So this has been a great conversation.
Thank you so much for joining us. Go back out there and rock it.
Changing the way you view new ventures. Igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. #ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.